So I'm trying to understand this new world we're heading into where the supply chain is going to be converted into augmented reality, which is a mind-blowing thought. But people around the world who are going to be doing a business are going to be wearing glasses and talking to the glasses and asking for information and orders and all sorts of stuff. So who are you?
My name's Erik. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I work here at Geekdom, which is a shared space or rack space. I run a company called Doppio Group. We started 2 years ago as a service-based organization, building these custom kind of on-premise cloud solution or on-premise solutions for suppliers to automate orders from their retailers into their ERP system.
Yeah. When we talked last week, you blew me away. You said most ordering systems are still done manually.
Yeah.
So explain. I used to work at a retailer back in the '80s, and I would put in my orders, on a fax machine. I think back then,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah. So the most
crazy new technology back then.
Yeah. So it's crazy. A lot of, and this is probably the most basic principle of automating a system, but most companies that have been in business for, let's say, 20, 30, 40 years, they tend to do things in a very old-fashioned way, or it's hard for them to change, right? It's very difficult for them to upgrade or update their system. So the problem that we fix is a company like Rip Curl, for example, one of our customers. Rip Curl does business with Nordstrom. When Nordstrom places an order for 400 stores to Rip Curl, prior to our solution, they're sending that order over. Rip Curl is picking up that 400 sheet order and manually keying that data in. The challenge is that it's very difficult for a supplier to scale the technical resources to automate this data. So that's something that we really focus on and we're really good at, and we do that with a number of major suppliers here in the US.
Running shoes and...
Yeah, so anything from food and beverage to fashion to medical device to distributors, we help automate that data. The big problem is that suppliers, they're not hiring top talent technologists. They're not hiring good programmers. They're focused on running their business, whether it's making jelly beans or making running shoes or wetsuits. They're focused on the core competency of their business, not scaling the technology.
Yeah.
So these companies now are starting to catch up because they're doing so much work with a number of retailers that they need to automate. There's a need to do that. And that's where
the world is speeding up, right?
That's right.
I want when I order something from Amazon Echo, I want it delivered in an hour.
Right.
I don't want it to wait a week
right.
anymore the way it used to take things to get to me.
And that's pretty common. I mean, we're seeing that the requirement of this automated system come from the end users, not from the business itself. A lot of users are driving this need because they can look up their bank accounts on their phone. They can cash checks on their phone. Why can't they automate orders in their ERP system? It's something that should be simple, but is always a challenge.
So what is it that, and maybe you can show me around what you do for these companies and how you're changing the world it's a boring world, right?
It is.
This is not
an interesting world, but it's high value.
Yeah.
A lot of dollars around this. I mean, if you look at a company that has 4 people full-time entering orders, let's assume their salaries are $40,000. Just before any benefits, you're looking at $120,000 a year on data entry.
And how do these orders come in before you? They come in, a stack of paper or faxes?
Yeah,
or
fax, email, FTP, and they all get organized, sent through some process to create a PDF.
So it's non-structured data. It's
non-structured
data.
data.
It's not in Google Docs, or it's not.
Right.
It's not in
right.
Maybe even an Excel spreadsheet.
So most companies have a way to structure it. They print it, and then the people go to the printer and pick it up and key it in.
Wow.
And so what we've done over
so
the
there's
last...
a lot of errors possible.
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges are a lot of errors. Data entry causes a ton of errors. When you're dealing with papers manually, you maybe miss orders or end up getting shipments late, and that causes a lot of problems on the back end when you're trying to receive funds from your retailers. And then also retailers have built a system out to intentionally charge suppliers for missed shipments, bad data, just any erroneous issues with these files. Retailers are charging suppliers back, and it's become a whole ecosystem that's really become another way for these retailers to generate
How old is
revenue.
your company again?
2 years.
2 years. So there's still a lot of businesses out
There's a
there
lot
that are
of business
doing
out there, yeah.
business this paper-based way.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, people who are watching this are probably like, what? There's people in business still doing paper and not using a cloud-based database.
Right. I think I saw something on the web that in 2008, 30% of suppliers were still hand keying data into their system and out of their system.
Wow.
As a core competency.
So show me around. What do you do? What does the system look like after you get done with them?
Yeah. So basically, what we're doing is we started out by doing these on-premise installs and fixing it kind of manually per each customer. But what we've done is we've created a cloud solution to support this. Right now, our team is very horizontal, and we've started to realize we need to be more vertical and have one platform to communicate with. So we built a system to basically quickly enable new trading partners, so new retailers for suppliers with a click of a button, and then also new documents for suppliers with a click of a button. So instead of having to regenerate code or recreate this system on each individual supplier's system, they come to our cloud service and can add rules and translations and do all the same things that they would want to do on premise, just in the cloud solution.
Got it. And what does this do to the business once they digitize this way?
So basically it's just kind of set up and forget. Once they set it up, it's...
But where I was going with this is like right around the corner here is Cantaloupe Systems, and by putting Internet of Things into vending machines, they radically changed their supply chain, because they could see things selling in real time.
Yep.
They could change the way the inventory is done, the way the truck is built. Everything changed about their business because they got digital all of a sudden, right? That's where I was wondering, do you see deeper implications of companies going from paper to digital?
It's a huge benefit to go digital. I mean, obviously they can have access to data way more so than they ever had. They can review kind of statistics on who's ordering what. They can plan for making inventory better. There's a lot of benefits, core benefits to the company. But another advantage that we've seen is customers end up ordering about 20% more once they're integrated in a system like this. So
20% more.
20% more. So you end up getting higher volume transactions from your retailers once you're integrated, because this is a system that is, once it's there, it's very hard to repeat. So once customers have this set up with a retailer, once a supplier has it set up with a retailer, it strengthens that relationship between the two parties, and retailers tend to do more business.
Which matches other places where, even in the consumer world, when you take friction away from the customer, they order more. Downtown app at Coupa Cafe, the sales went up 25% the first week it was put in place, because it was easier to order, right?
Yep.
And so people are more likely to order more because they don't have to deal with the fax machine, they don't have to deal with paper, they don't have to deal with all the documentation. They just change the number in a spreadsheet and boom.
And it's good to go.
Good to go.
So data integration's never as easy as that. I'm sure a lot of developers out there will attest to that, but what we're doing is trying to build a system to give access to the visibility to those rules.
Show me what it would look like for a retailer. And what this new ordering system looks like.
Sure. So let's say you're a supplier. So let's say we are a shoe manufacturer and we're doing business with Costco. We're selling lots of shoes to Costco. What we want to do is set up rules. Okay, so we can click on the Costco and the 850 relationship, which is an order, and click on a purchase order. So this is an example purchase order that the supplier would receive from Costco. What we've done is we've taken the data and just have shown it in a very easy to read way for the user.
Yeah.
And let's say they want to create a rule, because an ERP system is different than raw data. You want to translate or create some sort of specific rule to make the data true or accurate. So let's say they want to create a rule on this field department. Okay, what we've done is we've given access to the fields in the inbound file, which happens to be XML, and then also the fields in the ERP system, which we work with this ERP called Inform 3,
Yep.
and they can quickly just create essentially an if statement to translate this rule.
Got it.
It may seem simple, but a supplier and retailer communication or connection will take like maybe up to 40 or 50 different rules because of the way that a retailer system is set up versus a supplier system. So it takes a lot of core knowledge to understand how to set these rules up and what
So you come in with your team and help the companies figure out all these rules for them?
Exactly. Figure out the rules and then help them kind of set them up. And then once they're here, the nice thing is we have the ability to filter through all these rules at a high level and scroll through and understand what rules are set up so that the end user has access to that information and it's not just something hidden behind the scenes. One of the big challenges.
Give me an example of one of these rules, because normal people don't know what these rules
Yeah.
are.
So let's say the department at Costco for shoes is department SH, right? And in the ERP system, a department is for shoes is 1-2, right? Translating SH to 1-2 is valuable because we have to be able to understand the data we're receiving from that retailer.
Yeah.
And every retailer is different, right? So everybody's ordering with different data, and it's just a way to standardize this data so that it's understood in the ERP system.
This has a lot of implications in other places. We're wondering, how are we going to join these worlds of silos, data silos, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Twitter? How are we going to join them together?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be these kinds of rules, because over on Facebook, they might call a comment something in one
That's right.
database, and on LinkedIn, it might be called something else, right?
Yeah, we might not be smart enough to solve those problems, but
Yeah.
we're really good at solving this retailer to supplier connection.
Yeah.
Something we've been doing for a while.
Yeah.
But totally, I could see larger systems like that. Some development team building a rules engine to solve those integration systems.
Yeah.
More than something like Zapier. I don't know, have you ever used that, or are you familiar with what that is? Basically, you can create integrations between two cloud softwares. They have some pre-built integrations, but you could probably see some system like this come out in the future where you can customize the rules, customize the data, and do some translation so it makes sense to the end user.
Yeah. How much do if you're at a running shoe company and you're still doing things the old way, how much does it cost to hire you guys and get it going?
Yeah, so we charge. So what we do is we just charge based on the number of trading partners that they implement. So every time a shoe company or a candy company brings on a new retailer, we just have a fixed fee, and that allows the users to create the rules and do all the work they would need to do, and it gives our customers a very clear understanding of what they're paying for.
Yeah. Is that a monthly fee or a one-time fee?
We do a one-time fee for the implementation for each retailer. So if they're doing business with 90
Is that
retailers,
$10,000, $100,000?
so we've been working in the range of $3,000 to $5,000 per retailer. So if you're doing business with a company that has, let's say 100 retailers, it can be a pretty pricey project, but that compared to doing this in-house is a much better option.
Yeah.
Or doing it manually.
And how long is it taking your customers to get ROI out of this? Because
Instantly. I mean, setting these rules up and setting this transition up or this translation up takes maybe a day to set up and test. And as soon as the customer enables with the retailer, they should be seeing some return because they're automating data. They don't have somebody keying in the information. Now, jobs, we're not really eliminating jobs, but we're more transitioning jobs from data entry to data kind of analysis and review. So they should be seeing some just instant ROI on integration.
You could see this is going to affect factories, because if I'm building the factory, I'm going to build it with robotics. So the robots are going to go and grab things as orders come in, right? And there's going to be a quality guy wearing a glass that's
Right.
looking at the packages, make sure everything is packaged up right, and
Yep.
make sure there's some quality. I mean, we saw this in the beer industry, right? I toured a brewery in Ireland, and they had almost like 3 employees and a lot of machinery. And
That's right.
One guy was pushing the button saying, "We need a batch of Coors." And one guy was at the end doing the quality control, making sure it was actually Coors coming out the other end. And that really lets you make your business much more efficient. Right?
Yep. And a lot of businesses, another point of that is a lot of businesses every business relies on some third-party partner to support them. Most businesses don't own their own warehouses all around the world. They use some third party to store products in a warehouse, let's say in Shanghai, for example.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you have to integrate with that warehouse, right? And that integration is heavily reliant on data. I would say there's probably more opportunity in this kind of in these warehousing transactions than ordering, just based on the level of difficulty it's always been to integrate with third-party logistics warehouses.
Yeah, if you make a mistake, that's a week.
It's a week. It's lost dollars. It ends up being a lot of big problems for these companies.
How did you get into this? What Yeah.
I started consulting, so I was consulting for 4 years, and then saw the niche and saw the need, and left the consulting firm to start this company. And we're 20 people now. We have offices. We have an office here in SF, and then we've got a team in Bangalore, a full-time product development team in Bangalore, and then a couple of guys in Australia trying to get into the Australian market.
Very cool. And how's this funded? Did you fund it yourself, or did you get some venture funding?
It's all bootstrapped. Enterprise software, there's quite a few opportunities to make money, and we just continually reinvest everything we're making into the products and the team.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it does show how slowly business moves when there's paradigm shifts. My whole life has been digital for a decade, more than that, right? And the fact that when you told me the fact that there's still businesses doing paper, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a whole nother world out there that I don't see.
I didn't believe it either, and then the guys I talked to start the business, a couple of guys on the board are private equity guys. They had no idea that companies were operating this way. I'm sure in the next 5 or 10 years, every company is going to transition off of that, just based on the competitive nature of the business ecosystem. But right now, it's a great place to be.
Very cool. Where do we learn more about you guys?
You can check us out on the web at dopiogroup.com.
Yeah.
Just jump over there. A doppio is a double espresso in Italian. We drink a lot of coffee here in San Francisco, so we thought we'd come up with a creative name and kind of bring a different spin to this old school market.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.